The news from Guyana, the region, and the world. Compiled in the News Talk Radio newsroom and powered by DemeraraWaves.com.
With the news at this time, I'm Dennis Chabrol. Good day. The news comes to you with the compliments of News Talk Radio Guyana 103.1 FM. First, the headlines. A Surinamese man has been nabbed allegedly with 2 guns and ammunition in his possession. Police and the soldiers are probing the discovery of a plane tucked away in a canopy of bush in the interior. And regionally, the Caribbean Court of Justice says that Barbados laws allows for a man to be charged with rape of another man. And we also got the latest bulletin of international news from the BBC. And the news coming up in a moment.
News Talk Radio Guyana is the station for you, bringing you news updates every hour, major news 3 times a day, edutainment on a higher level, shows like Beat the Clock, Brunch on the Coast, The Afternoon Jam, Youth's Perspective. It's a station that goes wherever you go, streaming online at www.bit.ly/newstalk1031. It's News Talk Radio Guyana 103.1 FM.
And now the news in detail. A Surinamese man was yesterday nabbed, allegedly in possession of 2 shotguns and ammunition. He was nabbed by the Customs Anti-Narcotics Unit and handed over to the Guyana Police Force. Kanu says the man was in possession of 2 shotguns, several cartridges, and about 50 rounds of .22 ammunition. He was nabbed at the backtrack area at Springlands Quarantine. The opposition of Partnership for National Unity plus Alliance for Change, APNU-AFC frontbencher Amansa Walton Desir is recommending that the government cuts wastage and gives more money to the poor and working class. Making her contribution to the 2022 national budget debate, she noted that $218 billion of the more than $520 billion will be spent in capital expenditure. However, she said, Guyana does not have the capacity for such major infrastructure projects, especially since the International Monetary Fund has found that Guyana has a 41% efficiency gap. That, she says, amounts to about $89 billion in wastage, which can be spent on ordinary Guyanese.
Mr. Speaker, this is what we can do with this $36 billion. We can give the 50,000 public servants a pay raise of 10% right now. We can provide tuition, free tuition, for 11,000 university students right now. Mr. Speaker, we could give the 9,000 plus health workers an average of a $250,000 bonus right now. Mr. Speaker, we can raise the income tax threshold to 100%. To $100,000 rather, right now. Mr. Speaker, we can increase the old age pension to $35,000 a month for the 65,000 senior citizens right now.
The APNU-AFC parliamentarian also recommends that the government spends more money on areas such as technical vocational education and other important areas of national life, including $2 billion in grants to 2,000 qualified small businesses and $1.3 billion to upskill sugar workers. The opposition of Partnership for National Unity plus Alliance for Change says it is a waste of time for the Parliamentary Disciplinary Committee to consider a complaint against several opposition lawmakers. Governance Minister Gail Teixeira has succeeded in getting House Speaker Mansour Dir to send 8 opposition parliamentarians to the Privileges Committee. In striking down a similar opposition motion to take 22 government parliamentarians to the committee for their part in the disorderly conduct, Mr. Nadir told APNU-AFC that they could not bring a legal action for an illegal action in the first place. He also said that the opposition motion contained insufficient evidence to make out the case. But Ms. Walton Desir told the Speaker during a budget debate that it made no sense for the disciplinary committee to hear the government's complaint against the 8 opposition parliamentarians.
I note that you have made some pronouncements, sir, on the illegality or otherwise of the actions, Mr. Speaker, I will say that it appears that you have already come to the conclusion that our actions were illegal, and therefore it appears to me at this time that our appearance before a privileges committee might be moot.
The APU-AFC has repeatedly accused the House Speaker of being biased. Leader of the Alliance for Change, AFC, Kemraj Ramchitan, wants the government to publish the names of all those who have received flood relief and other cash transfers. Contributing to the 2022 national budget debate, he on Tuesday said that the opposition coalition was not opposed to the government's plan to amend an election law that would compel the Elections Commission to publish the statements of poll on its website. At the same time, he's challenging government to publish the names of persons who have been given flood relief.
If you are transparent, why do you not put on the website of the Ministry of Agriculture all those people who got the flood relief and put a name and put an address and put the amounts that they got? That is transparent government. They don't want to do that because corruption has started again. My good friend David Armagon from Region 6 indicated that he's going to call an investigation. I understand the minute he started up, what investigation you must call. And then it's done right there. Yeah, right there done.
But Agriculture Minister Zulfikar Mustafa read several thank you letters from farmers' organizations in villages that are considered strongholds of the People's National Congress reform-led a Partnership for National Unity plus Alliance for Change. He's threatening to go back to those communities to tell them that they are being accused of receiving flood relief wrongfully.
Mr. Speaker, I have it here again. I will go through each and every one of this letter. You know what? You know why? Because you is accusing people in these communities that they receive flood relief wrongfully, and I will be going back to these communities to tell them that the PNC and APNU-AFC accuses them of receiving false flood relief. I will go and tell them.
Zulfikar Mustafa, Guyana's Agriculture Minister. Police are investigating the circumstances surrounding the death of a gold miner in the Middle Mazaruni River amid claims that a canoe went down with him and a co-worker. Dead is gold miner 19-year-old Ronaldo Rampersad. The Guyana Police Force says he drowned at about 4 p.m. yesterday when the vessel sank between Lau Lau Island Point and Banana Landing, Middle Mazaruni River. Investigators were informed that the two were traveling to a location where they had purchased several items. Police say they were told that while paddling the canoe on the way back in the vicinity of Lau Lau Island Point, the canoe began taking in water and sank, and the other male managed to swim to shore, but Ronaldo went under and never resurfaced. Rampersad's body was found by his brother Joshua Williams at about 4:50 p.m. within the same area where he went under. An illegal Cessna plane has been found in a canopy of forest near an illegal airstrip in Kuraduni, about 20 kilometers from the Kurupukari crossing. The Home Affairs Ministry strongly suggests that there was no trace of narcotics. Government says the search was conducted in and around the aircraft, but no illegal substance was found in either the cabin or cargo space. The Home Affairs Ministry also says that nothing was found in the immediate vicinity either. The Guyana Police Force and the Air Corps of the Guyana Defense Force have been called in to probe the circumstances that led to the plane bearing Venezuelan registration number YV506 being there. Police at the Mabura station said they found the Cessna 310 plane on Saturday. The propeller was removed and placed under the high-speed retractable gear single-engine plane. Authorities say it is suspected that the aircraft is without key documentation, which will make it difficult to track the airframe, engine, and propeller time. According to the preliminary assessment by the lead engineer, the damage to the aircraft is extensive and beyond repair. However, further assessment will be conducted by the Guyana Civil Aviation Authority. In news from the region, the former governor of the central bank, Robert Van Tricht, has been sentenced to 8 years imprisonment in Suriname. Loop News Caribbean reports that he was convicted on several charges, including money laundering. Suriname's High Court Judge Maitri Kuldip Singh says the sentence will begin from the time the former central bank governor has been in police custody, dating back to February 2020. This means that he'll spend 6 years in prison on the charges of violating the Anti-Corruption Act, forgery, embezzlement, money laundering, and participation in a criminal enterprise. The prosecution had sought a 10-year sentence. In addition to the prison sentence, the former Suriname Central Bank governor has been fined almost $24,000 or a further 4 years imprisonment. Jamaica's Police Commissioner Major General Anthony Anderson has acknowledged that there are weaknesses in that country's prison system. Speaking at a press conference, Mr. Anderson revealed that around 1,000 convicts are released each year after completing their sentences, and according to the commissioner, around 500 or so will reoffend and return. These include people who would have served time for serious offenses. For years, human rights advocates have decried the poor physical conditions in Jamaica's prisons and the absence of structured rehabilitation programs to reduce reoffending. The rehabilitation deficit has worsened since the COVID pandemic. Based on Mr. Anderson's revelation, there has been no significant improvement in the reoffending rate in almost a decade. In 2014, the Auditor General reported that over the 5 years 2008 to 2013, the reoffending rate was 51%. This includes people who previously had non-custodial sentences. However, the Department of Correctional Services had been calculating the reoffending rate at 27% because it ignored previously non-custodial convicts. Carnival's Princess Cruise Lines Limited has agreed to pay $1 million fine on top of a $20 million penalty it received 2 years ago after pleading guilty to violating its probation for environmental-related crimes. Carnival paid a $40 million fine in 2016 after admitting to dumping waste into the ocean and covering it up. As part of the settlement, the company was required to serve a 5-year probation and be supervised by a court-appointed monitor. The monitor's reports for the first 2 years of the probation period showed Carnival ships dumped 66,000 gallons of ballast waters and hundreds of thousands of gallons of treated sewage and food waste into Bahamian waters. Federal prosecutors ultimately accused the company of 6 violations of its environmental compliance plan, including discharging plastic mixed with food waste into Bahamian waters. In 2019, a U.S. District Court judge approved a settlement between the cruise line and prosecutors that would see Carnival pay a $20 million fine and undergo enhanced inspections because of the violations. The Miami Herald reported this month that Princess failed to establish an independent investigative office, which was a condition of the company's probation. A spokesperson for Carnival told the Herald the company is working in good faith through its probation to improve internal investigations. The Caribbean Court of Justice, CCJ, has ruled that in Barbados, a man can be raped by another man. The regional court allowed the appeal of the Commission of Police and found that in Barbados, the law permits a man to be charged with the rape of another man. The CCJ heard the appeal on 9th November 2021. Stephen Aline was charged with the offense of rape contrary to the Sexual Offences Act. Before the start of the evidence in his trial, he was released by the magistrate after hearing submissions that a charge alleged that Aline had sexual intercourse with another man without his consent. The magistrate decided that a crime of rape did not extend to anal intercourse between men. The act uses gender-neutral language to identify both perpetrator and a victim and extends the definition of rape to include anal penetration. The court found that considering the literal meaning of the words used in the act, their context, and the comparable legislation, any person, male or female, can be the offender or victim of rape. The CCJ says that the retention and the legislation of the offence of buggery did not prevent males from being charged with rape, as the Interpretation Act allows offenders to be charged with either offence once they are not punished twice for the same act. We now go to the BBC World Service for the latest bulletin of international news.
BBC News, I'm John Shea. US officials say President Joe Biden is directing the Pentagon to deploy more than 3,000 American troops to bolster the defence of European allies. It would be the first major movement of US forces in Russia's military standoff with Ukraine. Barbara Platt-Usher reports.
A senior administration official said Mr. Biden has given formal approval to deploy 2,000 troops to Germany and Poland from a military base in North Carolina. And he's repositioning about 1,000 U.S. troops already in Europe to Romania. This move has been previewed by the Pentagon and the President as a show of support to NATO allies in Eastern Europe who feel threatened by Russia's military moves near Ukraine. More than 8,000 U.S. troops were placed on a state of heightened alert last week. The official said some of the new forces could be used if the military was called on to help evacuate Americans living in Ukraine.
The European Commission has proposed that investments in gas and nuclear energy should be considered as sustainable with certain strict conditions. The move comes in guidance to private investors. Here's our Europe regional editor, Danny Eberhard.
The EU has set itself a goal of becoming climate neutral by 2050. The Commission says that to get there, a great deal of private investment is needed. These rules help guide investors. The Commissioner for Financial Services accepted it's a divisive issue, but argued that nuclear and gas, properly used, have a role in the transition from more polluting fuels such as coal. Some environmental campaigners and member states say it sends the wrong message and will hinder investment in renewables. Austria's Chancellor Karl Nehammer said nuclear power was neither green nor sustainable and that his country was considering legal action.
Students have returned to some public universities in Afghanistan for the first time since the Taliban seized power. But male and female students are segregated. One woman said she'd been told not to walk around her university until the men had finished classes. The student expressed regret, saying it would limit learning and social skills.
At first, when we were students there, we had the sports time, we had classes, our colleagues were with us, we learned so many things with them. Being a student is not only going out with your female friends, being separated and sitting in a class where there is going to be only 3 people. What will we learn? What will we discuss? It's really just disappointing.
Mali says it's defaulted on bond repayments because of restrictions imposed by its neighbours. The Finance Ministry said it had sufficient reserves to repay the debt, but it couldn't because of sanctions placed on Mali by the West African Regional Bloc and Central Bank. The military government, which seized power last year, has failed to honour a pledge to restore democracy. This is the latest world news from the BBC. 26 people have been electrocuted in Kinshasa, capital of the Democratic Republic of Congo. Most were female traders. They died when a high-voltage power cable snapped during a heavy downpour, collapsing onto a busy market. The cable fell into a ditch that overflows every time it rains. The Israeli Defence Minister Benny Gantz is in Bahrain for an official visit, during which he is due to sign security agreements. The visit had been kept secret until Mr. Gantz arrived in Bahrain. The Security Memorandum of Understanding will be the first of its kind between Israel and a Gulf country. Police in western India have arrested a police constable and 7 others accused of kidnapping a local cryptocurrency trader and demanding a ransom of $40 million. Officials said the officer, who worked under a cyber crime unit in Pune, discovered the share trader had Bitcoin cryptocurrency worth millions of dollars. He and his accomplices allegedly abducted the trader and demanded the transfer of his complete digital currency holdings. The trader was set free after the gang learned that the police were after them. The first sports event of the Winter Olympics in Beijing is underway, 2 days ahead of the opening ceremony. The torch relay is in its final stages. Stephen McDonnell is in the Chinese capital.
This torch relay hasn't been like what we've seen before. Because of COVID, it's a much more scaled down event. Only 3 days leading up to the opening ceremony and pretty much only having invited spectators there. That said, though, famous people have been carrying the torch. We've had an astronaut, we've had former Chinese athletes, and even Yao Ming, the famous basketballer, he passed the flame on to the Greek ambassador.
And that's the latest BBC News.
And in news just coming to hand, 4 persons have died in an accident at the Mahaika Bridge. The accident involved the Guyana Police Force vehicle. We'll be bringing you updates as we get them from the police force. And now for a recap of the highlights of this hour, we tell you that the opposition of Partnership for National Unity is suggesting that the Parliamentary Disciplinary Committee may be wasting time to consider a complaint against several opposition lawmakers. The Customs Anti-Narcotics has arrested a Surinamese national at the Backtrack area, allegedly with 2 guns and ammunition in his possession. And police and soldiers are probing the discovery of a plane tucked away in a canopy of bush in the interior. In the region, the Caribbean Court of Justice says that Barbados' laws allow for a man to be charged with rape of another man. That's the end of the news.
This has been the news, compiled in the News Talk Radio Newsroom. For ongoing updates, visit demerarawaves.com, and you can check facebook.com/demwaves and twitter.com/demwaves.
News Talk Radio Guyana 103.1 FM, bringing you the best of broadcasting.
The time in Guyana, 12 hours, 22.
Want value for your money? Of course you do. So what you want is News Talk Radio Guyana 103.1 FM for best value, wide coverage and streaming online worldwide on them waves. Call our helpful staff today on 223-1056 or 223-1041 for low rates. Advertise with us. 103.1 FM. Accurate information blended with great music.
News Talk Radio Guyana is the station for you, bringing you news updates every hour, major news 3 times a day, edutainment on a higher level, shows like Beat the Clock, Brunch on the Coast, The Afternoon Jam, Youth's Perspective. It's a station that goes wherever you go, streaming online at www.bit.ly/newstalk1031. It's News Talk Radio Guyana 103.1 FM.
Everything in this world, all that I'll ever need is in your eyes, shining at me. When you smile, I can feel all my passion unfolding. Your hand brushes mine, and 1,000 sensations seduce me, 'cause I do cherish you for the rest of my life. You don't have to think twice. I will love you still from the depths of my soul. It's beyond my control. I've waited so long to say this to you. If you're asking, do I love you this much? I do. Oh, baby. In my world, before you, lived outside my emotions. Didn't know where I was going till that day I found you. How you opened my life to a new paradise. In a world torn by change, still with all my heart, until my dying day, I do. Cherish you, this much I know is true. For the rest of my life, you don't have to think twice. I will always love you still. From the depths of my soul, it's beyond my control. I've waited so long to say this to you. If you're asking, do I love you this much? Yes, I do. I do. If you're asking, do I love you this much? Baby, I do. Cherish you. From the depths of my soul, it's beyond my control. I've waited so long to say this to you. If you're asking, do I love you this much? Baby, I do. I do. little bit of soap will wash away your lipstick on my face. But a little bit of soap will never, 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 ever erase the pain in my heart and my eyes as I go through the lonely hills. A little bit of soap will never wash away my tears. A little bit of soap will wash away your powder from my chin. A little bit of soap will never, 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 ever begin to take away the hurt that I feel as I go through the lonely hills. A little bit of soap will never wash away my tears.
Have you heard? When love begins to die, it leaves someone to cry. Night and day, like a bird, you left your robin nest, and just like all the rest, you flew away.
A little bit of soap will take away your perfume eventually. But a little bit of soap will never wash away the memory of your name in the night that I call through the lonely hills. A little bit of soap will never wash away my tears. I never lose the memory of your name in the night that I call through the lonely hills. A little bit of soap will never wash away my tears. A little bit of soap will never wash away my tears. It's gonna never, never, never wash away my
If you go to Muruka River, you will get some hot, hot fever. All the girls, them shaking up their liver, yes, that's the heritage fever. What about the Bamaroon River? When the girls, them shaking up their liver. All the boys, them hot, hot fever, yes, that's the heritage fever. Some nice no punani, oh, all them beautiful nannies. Then we go to Chuma Chumari, there we got them biggest Timiri. Then come back to Sweet Cayuni, not forgetting our Timiri, no, it is our Timiri, oh, my Timiri. When you get that heritage fever, makes you want to Ali Québécois. When you get that heritage fever, makes you want to soumer les Québécois. And if you go to North Muruka, you will get them hot, hot fever. And if you go to South Oriala, you will get that same kind of fever. Oh, what kind of fever? Hot, hot fever. What kind of fever? Hot, hot fever. What kind of fever? Hot, hot fever. Fatu si paruta da ke pahanana arasuka kenda usafa apura maro yara dau ke fa kuru mayu
of a fairy tale. You can take the future, even if you fail. I believe in angels, something good in everything I see. I believe in angels. When I know the time is right for me, I'll cross the street. I have a dream. I have a dream, a fantasy to help me through reality. And my destination makes it worth the while, pushing through the darkness, still another mile. I believe in angels, something good in everything I see. I believe in angels. When I know the time is right for me, I cross the street. I have a dream. I'll cross the street. I have a dream. I have a dream, a song to sing, to help me cope with anything. If you see the wonder of a fairy tale, you can take the future, even if we fail. I believe in angels, something good in everything I see. I believe in angels. When I know the time is right for me, I'll cross the street. I have a dream. I'll cross the street. I have a dream.
News Talk Radio Guyana is the station for you, bringing you news updates every hour, major news 3 times a day, edutainment on a higher level, shows like Beat the Clock, Brunch on the Coast, The Afternoon Jam, Youth's Perspective. It's a station that goes wherever you go, streaming online at www.bit.ly/newstalk1031. It's News Talk Radio Guyana 103.1 FM.
must have been sent from